welcome to the ultimate emo horror movie. So we are talking The Pale Horse, directed by Perry Reginald Teo and starring Parish Dignam. Now, I often get asked, and I've said this before, who's my favourite director? And the answer is I don't have one. But there are a few directors that I enjoy most of their work, and the director of this, Perry Reginald Teo, is one of them. I've really enjoyed some of his low-budget horror movies. They're not all winners. There's a few of these films that I've not enjoyed. But he unfortunately passed away in 2023, and he had a couple of movies that were still due to come out. This one was one of them, although it has been finished for some time now. It had yet to be released, so it now has been. So Pale Horse, obviously we can associate that with the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse and death. What is this movie and why is it so emo, you're saying? And why was I wearing that? Well, let me explain. So this is kind of a gothic romance horror movie about the art world. So we have this woman called Eve, and she works at this gallery, and one day she is offered to effectively house this artist, this reclusive artist called Sabian, played by Parish Dignam, and you know, the art looks wonderful. So you know, ultimately it gets displayed and it's a big hit. But Sabian has actually made a Faustian bargain with a kind of demon to get fame and notoriety through his art, and also effectively take out anyone who may be considered a threat in supernatural sort of circumstances. So we have this artist who is kind of very emo, gothic, effeminate, I guess, and everyone's kind of going crazy for his art, selling out. Eve, this kind of woman, is falling in love with him, but obviously she doesn't quite know that there's this demon pact behind it, but stuff starts to happen. What will happen? You'll have to watch the movie and find out. So yes, this one, 2024 release, but it is a little bit of an older movie in reality when it was made. So let's discuss. So this feels like it's made for somewhat of a niche audience. Now, one of the things I liked about Perry Reginald Teo's work, he makes quite stylistic choices. And I would say that's definitely true of this one. I've likened him to a kind of a low-budget James Wan here before, but if you see a lot of behind-the-scenes photographs of this guy, you can tell he's kind of into this sort of like steampunk kind of aesthetic, this sort of goth kind of look here. And this really feels like it's a movie that he was a bit more sort of passionate about, if that makes sense. It feels like it's coming from the lifestyle that he wants, in a way, because he did co-write this as well. So it is quite an artistic film, and it's very sort of gothic romance is the best way I'll describe it, with kind of elements of kind of horror here and there. I think the visuals of this movie, despite it being a low budget movie, and there are low budget restrictions, very visually rich. Parish Dignam is not an actor by trade. I think this is his first movie role, and he is like a designer, like some type of model. I think he does does kind of fashion stuff with fashion, basically stuff I know nothing about, and is apparently quite a familiar figure behind the scenes in kind of California and the Hollywood crowd and all this. And you know, he clearly kind of models himself on a kind of like an anime sort of look. He kind of looks like Sephiroth in a way. I would put this movie, the stylings, somewhere between Moulin Rouge and Devil May Cry. So there's definitely some stylistic stuff going on, not just with him. We've got this kind of demon with this elaborate headdress. We kind of got all these goth girls that are pawning all over. Sabian and things like that. So there's like longing kind of like embraces, stares, romantic music, all that kind of stuff. So it is going for that kind of, that sensual vibe. It is a low budget movie that does have some issues with that, but yeah, it's definitely going for that sort of Gothic romance, I guess. There are still some horror imagery, which I think is kind of quite fun. I think the demon is quite, she's like a female demon, and she's designed to be more glamorous than scary, but still being a little bit sort of macabre and threatening. So I kind of quite this different kind of look at a demon. You would totally see why someone would be making pacts with demons. You know, if this lady turned up, you'd be there. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll totally do it. And I think it tries to have some sort of, you know, just kind of vibrant, stylistic feels to it. Story-wise, you know, it's kind of a little bit soap opera-y. There's love triangles. We've got Eve's kind of falling in love with this Sabian. At the same time, you've got this other guy who's falling in love with her. Sabian's jealous of this guy. The demon's jealous of the girl. So there's all this kind of stuff going on. So if you like it kind of like a romantic horror film, then if you don't mind the low budget one, you can kind of, you know, you may want to check this one out. I think more this movie is about style more than substance, to be honest. And I do think, as I say, Perry Reginald Teo's style does come through, although it's a little bit more subdued than maybe his more kinetic kind of horror movies that we've kind of seen that I could have quite enjoyed kind of previously. This is kind of like a more subtle, more subdued movie in some ways. What doesn't work for me, I mean, like the art world itself, and as some people who are maybe not interested in that, it seems a little pretentious. You know, it's the whole concept here of this kind of starving artist, and you know, he's a good guy, we're told, but he's made some bad decisions, fallen in with the wrong demonic people and things like that. And it's all like very angsty, very emo. You know, he's got his feelings hurt. He needs a hug and things. It's a little bit pretentious, and I think, you know, fair play to this guy, but he's not an actor by trade. I don't think he does a horrible job necessarily, but it's not exactly high drama. I think he probably does the best he can, but like I said, he's not an actor, so it's more stunt casting than anything else. But yeah, he looks kind of cool, but you know, it's a little cheesy. Even kind of some of the other characters as well, it just feels like there's just some cheesy, just a little bit cheesy. There are some technical elements here that I think are quite poor. The big one for me is the audio. I think the audio is quite poorly handled. When we have our sort of demon talking, even to the Sabian character, they kind of have this sort of reverb on their voice, and I could barely understand the dialogue. I mean, I only understood like the odd word here and there. I couldn't really hear what they were saying, and then to make it worse, they kind of played sort of music over it sometimes. So the dialogue isn't brilliant in regards to, as in you can't hear some of it. And there's also some poor editing as well. But there was one scene, and our character of Eve is talking to this kind of other guy, and it kind of fades to black, but you can still see this other guy's lips like moving. And after the kind of like the sentence he had just finished, there was more dialogue, and they've just kind of like faded it out, and he's still going. And it's like, well, there was clearly dialogue there that they've just not, that they should have had like a hard edit and things. There's a couple of other instances where you can kind of see people talking and it's just mute. They've obviously just muted it and ADR'd like audio over it and stuff. So, you know, editing audio, it's not brilliant. This is probably a lot of, you know, post-production issues, I would suggest. It's not a particularly kind of scary film in any kind of way. There's some cool imagery and there's some sort of macabre imagery, but I wouldn't say it's scary. It's trying to be stylistic and have horror, goth elements without being a kind of full-on horror. It's an oddity, this movie. This one's a little bit of a strange one. I wouldn't say it's an art house movie, but it is a movie about art, and it's trying to be this goth romance horror with severe emo vibes. I think I can appreciate what it was trying to do. I think lack of budget here is probably contributed to a little bit of a clunky film in some ways, the way it's been put together, and the fact that it was made like years ago and has only just now come out. I suspect it's been kind of tinkered around with and stuff, and it's probably not what was originally intended in its now final form. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. It's certainly an interesting watch. I don't think it fully succeeds, but hey, if you fancy it, let me know what your thoughts are. Bye for now.